This week I hit the road for a follow-up appointment with my elbow surgeon all the way in San Antonio, but it turned into much more than a routine trip. I spent the night car camping in my Tesla, just wait until you see my setup, and revisited Kitty Hawk Airfield, the place where I first learned how to fly paramotors. I also get to check out the progress that my flight instructor has made because his flight school now exists within this new and incredible hangar. And let me tell you, his flight simulator is so cool. I ran over a screw and then had to fix my tire and then race against the clock to go across the city and then make it to my appointment just in time. Spoiler alert. I can't wait to share the news that my surgeon gave me. So let's dive in right now. So this is the dream machine that has carried me all the way to San Antonio, where I currently am right now at Lone Star Paramotor. Like, my surgeon is in the place that I actually learned how to fly paramotors. But before we step inside to Lone Star Paramotor, I just wanted to tell you about the car because it's actually really cool. You're driving around in the fastest freaking machine. It's like if a Corvette pulls up beside me, I could smoke it in my little freaking mom-looking car. The thing that I really like about this Tesla is my little camping setup that I have with my refrigerator, this 6-inch memory foam mattress, and an EcoFlow battery. Bad news, I got a nail in the tire. No big deal. I do want to give you a little tour. This is where the magic happens. And by magic, I exclusively am referring to sleep. 6 inches of memory foam, not bad. How cool is that, to be able to look up at the sky? It is really comfortable, not only because the mattress is thick and squishy. The other thing that's really great about it, because it's an electric car, you can run the heater or the air conditioning all night. You feel like you're in a cozy cabin, like that's soundproof. I scoot the driver's seat and the front passenger seat forward, and that allows for enough room for me to have this full-length bed. And then I can have some storage compartment down here to keep my cell phone and wallet or my handgun. The one thing that I know that I would like to add to this car camping setup would be some covers for the windows, maybe some privacy shades. Out here it's not a problem. Out here I would elect to keep all of the covers off because it's just such a beautiful area and it's great. So this EcoFlow is incredible. This one that I have is 2400 watts, which is a big capacity for the size. There are 6 standard house outlets. Don't forget to pick up your copy of George R.R. Martin's A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Everybody meet Ron Toran. This is my flight instructor. I did everything he told me not to do.
Yes, you did. In training and afterwards, but that's okay.
It just feels like secure and safe. Sometimes if I'm tent camping, I cry all night and I shake and I say, I'm so scared.
No. Car will warn you when anything's getting...
It's Elon's voice. It's like enemy approaching. Okay, this is where I actually learned how to fly. Ha! Crazy. I had no idea. When I got here yesterday, I knew that I was coming to meet with Ron, but I thought it was at some new location. Lo and behold, I pull up and it's dark outside, but I'm like, this is where I first touched a paraglider. It literally all started right here. And Lone Star Paramotor has certainly grown. Now there's this huge hangar and a bajillion good toys, like really cool toys. An almost identical four-wheeler to the one that we just drove home from our airport in Santa Teresa, New Mexico.
Yeah, actually a student traded me that for a Paramotor. He kept crashing the Paramotor in training.
Yeah.
And he said, I feel bad. He goes, I got a lot of four-wheelers, and I'm going to need one of these. How about we trade?
Oh, man.
I was like, okay.
I'm going to go teach that guy something. Be like, let me teach you something on this thing I don't want. How many four-wheelers you got? It's just Costco's cold brew coffee.
100% Colombian, nice.
This thing is so badass the way it looks. It makes me think of the movie The Aviator.
Yes.
Howard Hughes goes along the side. And he's just like...
Not enough. These rivets have to be completely flush. She has got to be clean, Odie. Clean. Stand?
Okay.
I don't want any rivets.
Remember that scene?
Ron was showing me some video clips of him flying this small airplane. And it's incredible how how slow the airplane can actually fly, how fast it can go, the VNE.
28 miles an hour, I think, is the stall speed, and 95 is the VNE. It's in ultralight, so technically it can't go faster than 63 miles an hour in level flight.
Yeah, no way. It does not do that.
Also doesn't require a pilot's license.
Because it's under the certain...
Yeah, single seat, 5-gallon tank, and under 254 pounds.
That's incredible. And it has what you say is half of a Volkswagen engine, right?
Volkswagen engine cut in half, so it's really fuel efficient. About 2 gallons an hour, so it can stay up for a couple of hours, and comfortably it can cruise around 65, 75 miles an hour.
Wow. How do these things work?
I have no idea. We've trained over 300 students since we started, and I think you were student number 23.
That's some Kobe Bryant power right there.
There you go. Started out here just with trailers hauling our stuff in, then rented a small hangar, and then moved over to this space.
And then we did like the hang check.
Yes.
Over that far where they got cars and RVs.
Exactly right. Now we've got electric hoists to do hang tests and all of that.
Like, this actually is a very beautiful area.
But, you know, we're right on the edge of Class D airspace over there.
I thought my drone told me something. It's like, catch a glimpse of the train. Run! Super loud. But I love trains, so it's not that bad. So you said the Air Force Base, Class D airspace.
Class D airspace, yeah.
Is that just like pasture, like farmland, or?
Yeah, beyond the trees there.
Yeah.
We call it the hayfield. It's just open farmland.
Where are we? Like between San Antonio and Austin?
Austin's about an hour north of here. San Antonio's about 15 minutes south. Gun range down at the other end.
Gun ranges and flying.
Texas.
Hell yeah, freedom, brother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 18, 27, 28. There's paramotors all over the place. Can I keep my paramotor in your hangar? It's a cool hangout spot. How cool to have a space that's truly your space.
A lot of folks will just come here Friday evenings to decompress from a tough week.
Yeah, I'm not flying. I would be hanging out here. A lot of people think that I have a bad taste in my mouth about paramotoring, which is completely the opposite of how I feel. I'm not a victim of paramotoring. Right. Check out these gliders too. Tons and tons and tons of gliders, but I thought this was really cool. Kind of like that scene in Top Gun where you've got Iceman.
I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. Ice man.
We make these for the students, right? And when they leave, they usually take their name tag with pilot on it and put it on their bags and stuff. But
yeah, entertain me with my first ping pong back and forth, just to prove that my arm still works.
Oh, it does. And you've played before. Yeah, we'll have some tournaments here.
Oh, he took advantage of me. He knew going that way would mess up my arm. Dirty trick. Don't recognize this game.
This is called crokinole.
Crokinole.
Yeah, this is interesting. Here's one way to spell it. Kind of a shuffleboard game, right? Where
yeah.
Right, but you got to hit the other guy first. Apparently made out of old wagon wheels way back in the day.
There's a lot of badassery going on in here. I thought that the mural was really cool along the wall.
Our paramotor guy is slowly fading away.
Like Coco, he's being forgotten.
Yeah.
Really neat detail in all of this. Shawn Michael, yes.
Every class we have, I show your video.
Oh, the Resurgence one.
The Resurgence one where you're introducing Shawn Michael, and then we actually watch the Shawn Michael video as a way to raise money for Resurgence.
Oh, that's so cool.
We've been doing that since that day, which is 5 years ago, 6 years ago maybe.
It is so cool to think that somebody can overcome something like an amputation.
It's all about your attitude.
If you think you can, or you think you can't, you're right. Okay, so now we're inside the shop. We've got airspace, cloud clearance. Well, let's not pretend like I ever really learned this.
Well, I taught it to you, whether you learned it or not. What? You know, I was a teacher for 25 years. You lead your whole class to the fountain of knowledge, and some students drink heavily, and others, like yourself, just gargle. You gargled at the fountain of knowledge.
I wasn't thirsty that week. Check it out, check it out. Last night, Ron led me into this badass room. We got model airplanes, really cool model airplanes, remote control airplanes, not just model airplanes. And then what is this? What the hell is this thing? It's got a paragliding harness, brake toggles, and then a VR headset. When I tried this, I really felt like I was flying a paramotor again. I think the concept of this is really brilliant. I want to get Ron's thoughts on the simulator. The benefit to something like this, if I was to get back into flying, for me to feel like I can dip my toes back in flying using this in a safe environment that puts me back into the perspective of it. But especially for a student who, like, you never really know how somebody's going to respond on their first flight.
You don't. And we used to do towing, and had some accidents, had some broken legs and things. You really can't predict the first time you take someone off. So this is a great way for students to learn. They're here for 3 or 4 days before they take their first flight, and we take them up in tandems to teach them from the air, but this is a big part of it too. They get to know the environment, all of the sites around here, so they become familiar with the LZ, and it takes away a lot of their fear. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, just fantastic for rainy days and stuff like that. So highly realistic.
What the hell does this little thing do down here? I don't think I've ever seen one of these.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you. A little PTSD holding that thing?
I heard they can get you up to 48 miles per hour, too.
48
miles per hour! Come on, baby!
We'll fire it up in a second. You can take some video of me taking off.
Yeah. Freaking rad. I am so glad that Ron didn't have all of these things here while I was here, because I'd be like, teacher, can I use the restroom? And then I'd run in here and be like,
oh. This is the rec room, but we try not to wreck anything.
Yeah.
There you go. And then you're going to hit this one down on the left. Okay.
Reset view, and then left click.
Right. Where's my brakes?
There's that one. And there's that one.
All right, we're going to try to take off through the gap in those trees.
Okay.
Here we go. A little bit of power, full power, and a little bit of pressure. There's the gun range down below. We tell people to do a foot drag and then we spray them with water. We tell them it's highly realistic down by the pond.
Look at that, the wing. You've got the actual glider above you. That's so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Buttery smooth landing.
Yeah.
And this is certainly a really, really creative and I think effective way for somebody to get the gist of flying.
Right, a couple of guys have been working on this for a decade or so.
Yeah.
And they've been bringing it around to fly-ins and air shows.
Yeah.
And finally I said, okay, we're going to use it for training now. So, yeah, it's been terrific.
I agree, yeah.
I knew I still got it.
Oh, you got it.
And then if you also want to learn how to fly an Airbus.
Yeah, you were asking me about how I learned to fly the airplane in there.
Yeah.
This is how.
Holy cow. So that is the incredible growth. The incredible growth that has happened since I was here learning how to fly. This place is really blown up in a good way. Yeah. Not blown up as like an IED.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of instructors up here.
We love this guy. Oh, sure. Ron gave me a stern talking to when I ground started my paramotor in a video. He calls me. He's like, don't start your...
Might have called you out when you weren't wearing a helmet, doing some speed flying.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Might have also sent you a reserve when you said, I can't afford a reserve. This podcast costs so much.
Not only a reserve, floats. I know that reserves have been tossed from lower altitudes.
75 feet is the lowest that I've heard.
Crazy.
And someone surviving, yeah.
That is bonkers. I wouldn't count on it. I think that's why they say...
I wouldn't either.
I've heard 500 feet, but 500 feet's pretty damn high.
It is. They're rated for 200 feet if they're the right size.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I know that if I do fly again, which I do want to, that I will fly with a reserve. And
yeah. You know, the likelihood of a beginner having to throw a reserve is minuscule.
Right.
But we had one guy who we trained from Houston,
mm-hmm.
and I guess 6 months after training, found himself a couple of thousand feet upside down and fell into the wing.
That is my biggest fear.
A lot of people's fears, right? He was panicking, and then he heard Travis Landry's voice when he was in the simulator saying, "Find clean air to throw your reserve." So the guy felt along the seam for
my God.
I know, for one of the cells, and followed it all the way to the end and poked it out there and came down okay.
Holy crap.
Holy crap.
That is seriously the worst imaginable fear. Like, I kind of fell out of the sky. I was back looking up at the sky. It would be psychologically worse to be in a cocoon of a glider. These things are like easily avoidable if you decide just to abstain from acrobatics,
mm-hmm.
as one example. Like, if you don't put yourself over the wing, you're probably not going to go into the wing unless you flew in some horrible weather and your glider collapses and then it somehow flips you to the point where you end up in the wing, but still extremely unlikely. And the term for it is called...
Gift wrap.
Gift wrapped.
No student's ever going to have to throw a reserve while they're here.
Right.
But once they get out of here and they start pushing things, then it's...
Has that ever happened?
It may have.
I've heard...
Off the record...
All right. Just had an incredible off-the-record conversation with Ron, which will always remain secret. I've got my doctor's appointment in San Antonio that's in 1 hour and 15 minutes from now. So I need to get the show on the road. So we're going to repair the tire. You want me to swing the car around?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do this in time and make it to my follow-up appointment with my surgeon. But really quickly, while getting this tire situation sorted out, I just want to mention that you can go over to Patreon and sign up to become a free member to gain access to my weekly blog.
All right.
This week, I'll be sharing my expanded thoughts on Ron's flight simulator. And seriously, it's worth checking out, especially if you're like me and interested in paramotoring. So yeah, for those of you who do want to go a step further, paid members do get early access to videos, behind the scenes updates, and some exclusive little perks. By the way, check out these incredible people who've supported me. I've had friends who've supported me, as well as total strangers. And people have sent me incredible little gifts. Your support truly does help me continue to create content like this, and so I am extremely grateful for it. Thank you.
Hey Siri, how long would it take me to drive to University Hospital? 30 minutes.
I think I'm gonna make it. Absolutely incredible getting to come back to the place that I learned how to fly paramotor. I've had so much history just within the sport, but to come back and see the growth that has happened here, the technology, and holy cow, a lot of really cool things here. Thank you so much for all of your help in the conversation, and it is so cool to see everything that you've got going on. Here we go. 10:05, that's the arrival time. Can I shave off 5 minutes? Goodbye, Kitty Hawk. Let's go. And it looks like I'm gonna be just a few minutes early, but I still have to find parking and then meander my way through the hospital to get to the correct clinic, which is the trauma surgery outpatient follow-up clinic or something like that. But when I arrive, I want him to know how motivated I am to get back to being as strong as I possibly can be. It's not easy. I've heard people say that it's incredible how positive I seem to be throughout this experience. But the truth is that there certainly are times where I feel down, where I feel a loss of hope. And hope itself is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can give you the strength and motivation to accomplish incredible things. But on the other hand, it can cut you if your goals are not realistic. And that's where I wonder, am I being realistic? The car is driving entirely on its own. It's almost as though you're on a train ride. You just get to sit back, relax, and enjoy the trip. I'm an advocate, a huge proponent of the potential for something like full self-driving.
Take the exit.
Okay, it did it. I get a little bit nervous, but it did it. It did it flawlessly. Medical drive. The way that the program works is it uses artificial intelligence. It's studied millions of hours of driver footage, and it behaves just like a human. Interesting thing, when the system changed from being 300,000 plus lines of code over to this new AI model, the car didn't come to complete stops at stop signs. Why did it do that? Because humans don't actually come to complete stops at stop signs most of the time. So the car would go to like a rolling stop, like never actually coming to a complete stop. And then the Department of Transportation was like, hey Tesla, look it, that's really impressive, but you need to get your car to stop at a stop sign, okay? We're not gonna authorize that. We are now 4 minutes out.
In 1 mile, turn left.
There it is.
At the light, turn left. Arrived.
Let's get the hell up there. There it is. I was just here. Whew. I think I'm in the wrong spot. Do you know how to get to the outpatient trauma clinic?
You're gonna go down to 1, it's the D elevator.
D.
Yeah, D to 2.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna get the out of my way. Back down. Oh no, I was just here. I hit 1. What the? I hit 1 and it took me to 3. D elevators. I'm running. I haven't run in 8 months. This way. All right, thank you. There it is. Queen.
Picture of the other one too.
Oh yeah, please. That little guy. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
As soon as they have a room open, they'll call you back to see Dr. Dutta.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Oh man, I'm nervous. It looks like there may have been a screw that was loose on the lowest screw that's on the let's look this up. Epicondyle? I think it's the lateral epicondyle. We'll know here in just a moment. Right. Awesome, thank you. Everybody here has been super, super cool.
Yeah, it's awesome to know that. I'm glad our San Antonio folks were like, able to step up too. 'Cause I know that you stayed with them.
Yeah.
And that's how you got through the week. So
right.
Let me pull up our X-ray here.
I saw like 1 screw and I was like, oh man, I hope I didn't overdo it.
I think we're looking good. Here's
the head of the screw.
That screw is a locking screw.
Okay.
That I think has a tendency to have a little bit of a movement there. But nothing that I'm concerned about. This is the bone graft here. This is what's called the medial column. And you can see that we're already starting to get some closure of that side.
Okay.
Good stability here. There's your joint line that we've kind of fought to kind of maintain that hinge component.
So
and then
you're referring to like the gaps potentially starting to heal a little
yeah,
bit?
I think we're starting to see kind of early what's called consolidation across here. It's hard to tell you definitively, but I think I can see that. That's what I was hoping for would be a natural heal. This is more the graft that has to bridge, but this is a direct heal across here. Yeah. And that actually looks like it's trying to heal.
When you had mentioned it before, when you say the good column, you're referring to this side as the strong side, and it's basically been holding everything up because this part right here
was the weak side.
What is it?
It's the lateral column.
Okay.
This is capitellum, and then this is the lateral column.
Okay.
This is the inner half of your elbow and the medial column.
I came here and I was like, I have to express how strong my desire is to get, really wanting to get this arm as strong as like possible.
Absolutely.
And I will push through whatever pain, but then again, I also fear, could I push so hard that I'm going to damage either the hardware or
And I think our hardware is now in symmetry with what you're doing. It was just a little asymmetrical now, but this is a pretty strong titanium construct. I'm looking at your bone stock, and I'm actually seeing some increased bone formation through here. That means that your bone is coming back too with it. It was sort of resorbing a little bit, like outer space, like it wasn't getting enough of a load. So I actually think that loading it will help it, and you know, the motion will improve as you load it too. So I'm all about like weights.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
this
I
point.
did hear that weightlifting increases like bone density or something. Like
Absolutely.
that. Is there any additional supplements or something like that that could be taken that may?
Vitamin D, calcium for sure.
Yeah.
Always. And some iron would be helpful. Vitamin E.
Okay.
You can get that in a multivitamin, you'll be fine.
Sure.
We could order a bone stimulator. Did you not have one before?
I hadn't, and I think that the justification for not doing it then was that there just wasn't enough bone that had regrown, and it should reach this point prior to introducing.
I will order a bone stimulator for you.
You mentioned weight restrictions at this point, kind of by feel.
By pain. Pain will be your guide that you'll go to.
There are times where it feels like there might be some rolling, or like there's a little bit of like a crickly, like when I move it, if you like, you can feel just like a little bit of crickly, crackly stuff. I mean,
Ignore that.
okay.
Ignore that, yeah.
Okay.
This is such a new joint in some ways that ignore that.
It is.
I would just focus on keeping that motion going. It's probably just some scar tissue. The one thing you will do that'll help the most to prevent like micro instability, I think I told you this in the hospital, is to be supine and work your tris supine.
Like a skull crusher type.
Like a skull crusher, yeah. And you can be completely supine on a bench and do that exercise.
Yeah, the only part that hurts about that is in the wrist.
Do you need a brace? I can see if we have one here. I'm thinking about like a little, if you're having wrist pain when you're doing those exercises,
Yeah.
I can give you like a wrist brace.
Yeah, that would be beneficial.
I mean, we have an elbow brace too here.
Yeah, I'm not. But is there any benefit to using just a compression sleeve? Or,
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
For swelling. Any reason I shouldn't ride my four-wheeler gently? Okay. Cool. Got it. The big one is the additional surgeries that could improve range of motion. It is challenging laying in bed, and like if I'm flat, like my arm is going to be elevated. When or if possible, would I think you'd said an orthoscopic surgery. if I'm not mistaken,
Arthroscopic, yeah.
to potentially increase range of motion?
6 months at the earliest.
Okay.
Like I'd probably want to look at a CT scan at 6 months, see what's healed and what's interfering, and then I can give you a better idea. Arthroscopic means fiber optic evaluation of everything, and there's no replacement for that. So sometimes it's like you can talk to a plumber all you want about what they think's wrong with the drains in the house, but sometimes they just got to run a scope down there, and I do the same.
Is there any specific movements?
No, yeah, I want you to go for that. In that regard, you can go all the way.
Full Monty?
Yeah, because I think that's going to help it.
Really good news. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is like phenomenal. He gave me his phone number, like super incredible doctor. Let's go home. Such good news.
Well,
Everything's great.
wow, really? What about the bone growth? Is that happening?
Yeah, the bone is starting to heal, and I don't have any limitations on what I can or can't do. It looks really good.
Wow, no way. How cool is that?
Yeah, all really great stuff.
This is incredible news. Like, how wonderful.
And cut. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Another great video down. Everybody, you did great work today. Everybody can go home. The video's done. Thank you. Go yourself. I love you. Goodbye.